I am the one that calls you late at night from some foreign country, just to say nothing. I am the one that you don't feel scared about at first, but after countless calls I start to get into your skin. You start to picture me everywhere. You want it so badly to be a joke, but it never is. I am the caller, and this is my story. When I was a small boy, my country was plagued by war and death. In the midst of all that madness and terror, I had one object that served me as a beacon of hope. It was an old-style telephone, painted in black and working as a Swiss clock. Now that was weird. The phone worked all the time, only my phone. All the other had no connection, which is understandable since there was a war going on. But little me didn't find this odd or strange. I was just happy to have something worth having. Every day I would get up, try to find some food in the destroyed pit my town was, and after that I was about that phone. I would just dial numbers on random and call. All sorts of people picked up. Some were happy and cheerful, while the other ones were sad and lonely. I always thought about how they were lucky not to be going through what I was going through. But the world didn't care for us. No one sent help. No one bat an eye when they killed 8,000 people in one day, in one place. The world was silent while we screamed. Naturally, one day something just clicked in me. A switch was turned on, a switch of darkness and insanity. I kept calling people, but this time I made all kinds of hisses and growls into the phone. Sometimes I wouldn't say anything. I would just keep silent and notice the change in their voice. There was always a change. The happiness disappeared, and traces of fear began to appear. I loved doing this. This was my passion. I thought no one could touch me over the phone, until one day I dialed 666. I didn't know back then the meaning of these numbers. The phone rang as usual. It connected. I stayed silent, but there was no one on the other line, just silence. This was weird. I started to breathe. Silence. Then without any warning, the most horrific sound came through. The screams of millions of souls all at once poured into my brain. I started to cry and was close to fainting. I was hanging up, and just as I did, someone said a word. Hell. Shaken up I was, but if you thought I would never call anyone ever again, that I was scared, you'd be wrong. This only motivated me to be better at scaring. I wanted to be as good as that guy, so I started to scream at other people. I would hear their voice die down, followed up by a familiar sound of hang up. Over the years I perfected my craft. Now I say things in a deep voice. I am coming. Look behind. I know who you are. They seemed incredibly vague, but not scary. But trust me, when someone calls you at 2 a.m. and says things like this in deep voice, you shit your pants. And that is my story, so remember me. When someone calls you and you write it off as a wrong dial, that is just the beginning. I am the caller.